Hi, I'm Bernie from Crafter's Companion. Today I have with me from Threaders our Tri-Hex multi-ruler. With this ruler you're going to be able to cut 60-degree diamonds, hexagons and equilateral triangles. They all come in one handy ruler. So you only need to worry about one to make those fantastic shapes to make wonderful patchwork designs. Let's see how it works. So as you can see here, we've got the equilateral triangles, or sometimes known as 60-degree triangles. And then the pink lines here, you've got the diamonds. And I'm going to show you how to cut all of these out so you'll see them all line up. And then if I tilt it this way, you can see here that we've got in the blue the hexagons, and these go up to 5.5 inches. So if I bring in my cutting mat and get a strip of fabric, I'm going to cut out the triangles first. So you've got this video to watch, but also it comes with a really handy guide. So you've got your diagrams here, just showing the shapes in red for each one. It's giving you full instructions on how to cut them with photos that we all love for all three shapes. And also, which I'm going to show you in this video, is how to sew Y seams. So we've given you the instructions here, but I'm going to show you again how to do those. And then on the back, to give you some inspiration, we'll give you some ideas of how you can put these pieces together. So let's cut the triangles. I've got a 4.5-inch strip of fabric here. Now I'm cutting with 2 layers. If you're new to rotary cutting, what you can do is cut with 1 layer at first and then build up. So don't worry if you're only cutting 1, you will build up to more layers as your confidence grows. So I'm lining up. Now, the important thing with the triangle is there's a little bit, little tip. You can see here, your tip is cut off the top of it. Now, that's going to help you line it up. It's getting rid of your dog ears, so you don't need to trim them afterwards. And it's going to help you put those pieces together when you're cutting. So I'm lining that up at the top, and then the line along the bottom there. And then you can use these with any of our rotary cutters. So I've got here the 28mm, but you can use the 45mm or the 60. And then if we take that away, we can see here that we've got the triangles. Now if I bring some more in that I've already pre-cut, this is the time when you can start playing. So when you join these together, you can put them all in a row, like that way. Or if you put 6 together, you're actually making a giant hexagon. So this shape will work with the other shapes on the multi-ruler. Let me get that one in there. You can see how you're going to be able to play with these and put them together. So that's the equilateral triangle. So let me show you how to do the diamond. So I've got my strip of fabric here, and this is a 4.5-inch strip. I then look at my multi-ruler, and I'm looking for the pink section. So the pink section is the diamond section. Now the seam allowance is incorporated in with this. So I'm going to look for the 4 because that's my finished size. And then the line after that, which is the dashed line, that's your cutting line in effect. And we have put extra steps and instructions on this in the paper copy that comes in. So if you're a little bit confused, you'll soon realise how easy it is once you've done it a few times. So I'm going to line it up here, and I need to cut up here. Now I'm left-handed, so what I'm going to do is just turn the mat so it's comfortable for me to cut. I've got the 45mm rotary cutter here, and I'm just going to neaten up that first edge, and then I'm going to turn it back round. And then now what you do is turn the whole ruler around and then line up around the 4. So we've got the 4 there, and then there's the dashed line around it, and that's our seam allowance. And the seam allowance, as I say, goes all the way around. So then I'm going to cut up this side. There we go. And there we've got a perfect 60-degree diamond. So if I bring a few more in, you can see how you can start putting these together. Now, one of my favourite designs is called a tumbling block, which is this shape here. So it looks like a 3D cube. If I just bring in the instructions here on that design inspiration on the back, we're giving you here the step-by-steps of how you put that together, rows together, and then you can see here how you get that, it's like a 3D effect to put them all together. Okay, now the other shape this can do is hexagons. So let's have a look at the hexagons. Now with the hexagons, we're looking at a 4.5 inch one again. We'll do all the same size. There we go. If I bring in the multi-ruler. So the hexagon is in the blue on this side. So if I just follow it around with my finger there, you can see the hexagon shape. Now, when you put it on your fabric, you're going to cut one side first, and then we're going to turn the tool like we did for the diamond and cut the other side. So I'm going to find the dashed line there around the 4. So there's our seam allowance incorporated. And I'm going to cut up this side. Again, I'm left-handed, so I'm just going to turn the mat. So this is where your mats are really useful. So if you've got an A3 mat that we have in our cut and starter kit, or a rotating mat as well, that's perfect for this job. So I'm going to cut up one side, cut up the other, and then if I turn it back around, and then we're going to turn the tool. So you turn the tool around, line up those edges that you've cut with the dashed lines, and then again I'm just going to turn that for comfort, cut up one side and cut up another. And then what you would do is work your way along. So you would repeat that same action, trim off your ends here, cut the sides, and then turn it to cut along so you can cut multiple shapes out of there. So once you've got these, this is where you're going to look at joining them together with what's called a Y seam. Now we have put full details with photos as always in the instructions, but I'm actually going to show you how we put one together. 3 different colours of the hexagon, and I'm just going to lay them out and explain what the Y seam is. So if we want to join these together, there's your Y seam. So it does look like a Y. So it's how do you sew all those together neatly to get them to lie flat. So that's what I'm going to show you what to do. So the first thing we need to do is we need to mark our pieces on the wrong side. Now, the best way to do this is using our miter tool. What we want to mark is a 1/4 inch point at each intersection on one side of the two colours. Okay, so I'm going to use my miter tool to find the right angle. You don't need to measure the angle, just place the tool on. And if you have a search on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find the videos for the miter tool. So there's a little hole in here, so I'm just going to mark a little hole there, so I'll make it a bit bigger so you can see it. There we go, so I've marked a 1/4 inch there, and then I want to do it on that side as well. Darker so you can see it. So I've got that one marked, and then I want to mark on this one as well. So if you mark on the wrong side, and what we're going to do, these are going to help us when we need to start and stop sewing, because you need to start and stop a 1/4 inch away from the edge to help those pieces fit in neatly. There we go. So I've got those 2 points marked, and then what I'm going to do is sew those together so they'll line up perfectly. And what you're going to do is stitch from one dot to the other dot, and you're going to secure your stitches. So by securing your stitches, it means you're going to do a couple of stitches and then reverse a couple of stitches all the way to the other end and finish it off there. And then when you've done that, this is what it's going to look like. So you can see there I've got that. And then what happens is, if I just show you the end here, you see because we haven't stitched right to the end, we've got that little bit of opening there, and that's going to help us fit in the next piece. So we're now going to join this hexagon into the top of here. So the easiest way to do this is always think about working one side at a time. So if we place this beige one over the green, this side, you would have pressed this. I'll just give that a finger press. What I'm going to do is just flip this over, just so you can see. So this is the side here that we're going to stitch. So again, bring your mitre tool in, just mark that point there. Make that bigger so you can see. There we go. So we're going to stitch from there to there. And then what's happening under here is it's not going to stitch right to the end. It's going to again leave that little gap of the 1/4 inch. So we're going to stitch from there to there. Once we've stitched from there to there, we can see now that we've got one side stitched together and we've got one side left to do. So all you're going to do is turn it around. Now when you turn it around, the one that's got the 2 stitch sides will automatically want to fold, and that's great because you want that just to keep that out of the way. You're going to line up the 2 remaining hexagons perfectly with each other. Pop a pin in if you're a bit nervous of it shifting. If I turn it back onto the other side, because it's the green one that I've got my dots on, the blue one is well out of the way. And again, pop a pin in if you're not sure, which I'll just pop in there. So that's just out of the way there. It's not going to stitch. And then what I'm going to do now is stitch from that blue dot to that dot. So I've got that lined up. So when my needle starts, it is going to go into that mark. And again, just secure those stitches and you're going to sew all the way along to the other mark. And then do your little secure stitch. So then when we take that out and open it up, we get that seam lying flat. If I turn it over, let's get rid of my cotton ends there so you can see. And what I find is if you press the seams all going the same way, so if we all go in this way, this one's going to press back this way, what happens is that centre will also lie flat and it actually forms a little mini hexagon in the centre. And that's how you do your Y seams. And that makes it then lovely and flat for you to then do your quilting. You're not going to have lots of layers there and you're not going to have any gaps. So with this tool, we've made the hexagons. We've made the 60-degree diamonds and also the equilateral triangles, all with one multi-ruler. So if you want to learn how to do new shapes for your projects to make them absolutely fantastic, this is the multi-ruler for you.